I think we're live. What do you know? Trying a different method here. So I put up no notification. I was basically just messing around with StreamYard and went live. I don't even know how to tell if this thing's working. Anyone there? Check 1, 2. Sorry, I'm going back and forth between YouTube and StreamYard. Oh, look, there's some people here. Cool. Thanks. It's kind of a test. I was, like I said, messing with StreamYard and decided to go live, and I'm just trying to figure out how it interacts with YouTube. I think there's probably a way. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. Who's here? Hey, Seamus. Yeah, I'm not one of those people that like shout out people in the chat. I mean, if you ask a question or something, I'll try and answer it or make a comment that I agree or disagree on, but I'm not going to go through here and start saying who's here and who's not. So I don't know if anybody's seen it, but I have I bought a drone, finally pulled the trigger. I've been wanting one for a long time, and I'm really glad I put it off because I think I would have gotten a different model. And um, the new DJI has a new remote controller where you don't have to use your phone. I don't know how new it is, but it's relatively new. If I would have gotten it back when I first started thinking about it, I would have had the one where you have to connect your phone to your controller. And the ones now are fantastic. And the things that you can do with these drones is insane. I thought, you could just fly up and record stuff, take a few pictures, but they're very detailed. And um, I recommend anybody who is thinking about getting one, if you order one, before it arrives, go on YouTube and just start watching every video you can find for the make and model that you ordered. Because I had like 3 or 4 days to basically study. And then when it arrived, I kind of had an idea what was going on. But they're very complex, which is pretty cool. Right now, I'm still learning how to fly it well. The remote control is very sensitive. I know you can adjust the pitch and the yaw speeds. I haven't done that. I just have the factory. But I'm mostly working on making it smoother and slower because I have a tendency just to jam the stick over, and it's just too jerky and too fast. So it's very sensitive, and so far I've been very pleased with it. Now, it does not have night vision. You can do um, like time lapses at night, but you need to be like in a city where there's street lights, building lights, headlights, tail lights, and out where I'm at, it's like literally pitch black. So no night vision. And After sunset, if I put it up, you can't see anything. But I'm having a lot of fun with it, and hopefully I'll have some opportunities to film some interesting things. Hunting season just started where I'm at, so the elk have a tendency to, they know when hunting season starts and they disappear. Prior to that, they're all over the place and across the street and on the property constantly. So the drone arrived at a time when I really want to be able to get in there and see how close I can get to like the elk or the antelope. But I'm gonna have to wait a while because right now the elk headed for the hills. And been kind of like I'm trying not to like be super down on humanity, but recently I finally made a Twitter account just so there's a few people that I enjoy listening to, so I was just following them. And since I've only got a few, Twitter like inserts all these other things that they think I might be interested in. And so I read these posts and these comments, and I don't know what that vaccine booster did to people, but I mean, is it just me, or is basically it's just like the world's full of retards? I'm having a hard time understanding what's wrong with these people, because these people rant and rave about like the media and the government and how they, and then they believe all these things, and it's like, where did you hear that? And it's just stuff they heard through the media, and so nobody's making any sense. People believe in absolute nonsense, and the worst thing is the lack of discernment. They can put anything out there, and people just they just eat it up like it's true. And I think what it is, especially the truthers, I think the truthers are like the new NPCs. They've really lost their minds. And I think what it is these baby truthers, they'll believe anything that goes along with their beliefs, or if it goes against what they don't like, they're 100% for it, no matter how ridiculous, how obvious of a deception it is. They buy in 100%. And then like if you call them out and say, these are actors, this is not real. Especially like say if somebody dies, like, and you're like, nobody died. It's a psyop. It's just, these are actors. They get really, really angry. It's sort of like, it's weird. I don't know. It's some sort of psychological issue. It's similar to when you tell people that nukes don't exist and they get really angry because I guess they want them to exist. And I don't know if it's like a dopamine addiction where people are addicted to the fear. And if you take their fear from them, they get angry at you. I haven't figured it out, but if you tell them like, yeah, nobody died, that's just totally fake. They're like, how dare you disrespect the families? And it's like, there are no families. Nobody died. And they just get angrier and angrier. And I've noticed that even like these middle-aged soccer moms will, after like 2 times of telling them like this isn't even real, they immediately will go to like cursing at you and calling you names. And it's like, I'm trying to help you here, lady. They don't want your help. So like I said a long time ago, that I've given up trying to get people to wake up to reality. At this point they can just all, good luck. Well, Seamus is going to town here. What do we got? Um, Yeah, there's definitely a spell that people are under. I don't know. I don't. Like I said, I don't give it that much thought because, like, I like living. All these things that I see people spiraling over, it has no impact on my life because I'm so remote and so far removed from like Babylon that like a lot of time I don't know. I just see these things. I'm like, how can people live like that? I'm really surprised, to be honest, that people aren't really spiraling. And I think it's coming. I think people are going to snap, especially if they pull another, uh, some sort of lockdown or whatever. I think people are right at the end of their rope, and it's not going to take much for like just normal people to literally start snapping and just going off the rails. Um, all these things people are talking about, like it has no impact on my life, but I see what's coming for the people. Um, like they just can't see what to me is like so obvious and like right in their face. Like I somehow I saw they suggested some thread to me about electric vehicles, which I don't understand why they would think that that would be. But all these people are like arguing back and forth about electric vehicles, and their main argument was the amount of charging stations and how far or how long it takes you to go somewhere. And I'm like nobody understood the point that electric vehicles are the only purpose that electric vehicles serve is to keep people tied to cities. You're not going to go to like some town with 1,200 people and find an electric charging station. They're all in the cities and on the routes between cities. But they don't see that like this whole thing is just to tie you in to cities so that nobody lives too far from one because they got to charge their electric vehicle. But instead, they're arguing about how far they can go on a charge or how long it takes to charge. It's amazing how stupid people have become. And I think part of it's like, the boosters. But I think another part of it was like I didn't participate in I guess there were lockdowns in like 2021 or something. There's no lockdown out where I live, so like we didn't participate in the LARP, but apparently a lot of people did, and I think it damaged a lot of people, which to me it actually sounds awesome. Like you don't have to go anywhere. If you do, there's like nobody on the streets. I mean, it sounds like an upgrade, but apparently the lockdowns really damaged a lot of people. Um, and then you throw the boosters on top of that, and these people are insane. I don't know how people live in cities. I don't even go to them anymore. Like I used to like go like once a month or something. If I had to go somewhere, I'd be like, I'm gonna get in and out, grab something I need, and get out. I won't even do that anymore. I see pictures of people in cities, and I get like anxiety. But yeah, people have lost their minds, and but the common denominator seems to be like people in populated areas. Out here, everybody's just normal. I mean, nobody's concerned about these topics that they put out there for people to spiral on. Like, um, I don't think I have it, but I saw Twitter is like it's like it's weird because like it gives you a reading on the people, but when you look at it, you get really depressed about like what a mess people are. But like they were talking, like all these people were freaking out because some tennis player won a grand slam and he's like the only one that didn't get vaccinated, and they're all like freaking out. And it's like he's on the team. I mean, how do I say this? So there's pictures of this tennis player doing one eye symbolism, like a lot of them, like not just like one picture. These are like ads he was in, I guess. And he's covering one eye in like all these pictures. Like you've all seen the collage with like Eminem and I don't know, these other people that have the one eye symbolism. And they're always the same picture because like there's like one picture of each person doing their Eye of Horus pose. This guy's got at least four. Like all these ads where he's one eyed, and I'm like, this guy is part of the script, and they're all praising. Oh, this guy didn't take the vaccine. Look at him, he's crushing. People can't see the deception, and at this point, it's so easy to fool people. It's insane. There's people defending the India moon landing. I don't if you've seen any of the footage of that. There's people that are defending it and like getting angry if you call it fake. It's just unbelievable. Let's see, do you believe the 70 to 80% uptake reports? I don't even know what that is. I love the lockdowns. Yeah, whenever I did have to go into a city during the lockdowns, it was like The Walking Dead, minus the zombies, because like nobody was out, like the streets were empty, and I could get from like one end of Albuquerque to the other in like 5 minutes. It was epic, but apparently it destroyed a lot of people's psyches. People want to be controlled. That's what I've figured out. People want to be told what to do. They want to be ruled over. They want to be told what they can and can't do, and then they bitch about it, but they like it. Let's see. $70 to 80% vaccine. I don't even know what that is. Well, first of all, in a lot of different, well, in most instances, what people fail to do is it's weird because people will use math as like their proof of certain things. Like if you tell them something's fake, they'll argue that the math proves that it's real, but then they won't do math on simple things like the vaccines. So they're claiming, was it 70 to 80% of what, the world? So that's what, over 2 billion people? So they don't think about what it would take to create 2 billion vials of anything and how long that would take. It would literally take multiple factories going 24/7, like, I don't know, 15, 20 years to pump out 2 billion of anything. Um, so either that's just a blatant lie, or a lot of people were injected with water. But I don't even think you could fill up 2 billion vials of water in like, what did it take them, 9 months? I mean, people don't think so, and they don't use math to realize like, wait, that's impossible. Um, yeah, the India thing was like, I mean, I think at this point they're starting to see how dumb people really are, because everything that they put out is it's data collection. Everything. If they put out, I mean, anything, it's for social engineering, and they have to get a baseline, figure out how many people will believe absolute nonsense, no matter how much proof there is that it's nonsense. And so I think they put these things out there just to go, okay, we can take it this direction because these people are like clueless. Like the India moon landing. I think they just sat back and went like, let's see like what percentage of people bought this, and they'll use that data for whatever they got planned coming up. And just like that, I mean, this is maybe one of the worst. I've seen a lot of stuff lately that's just like, you've got to be kidding me. People believe this. But one of the worst I've seen is that, what's that son of a bitch's name? I'll probably get it wrong. Is it Oliver Anthony? That leprechaun? I think his name was Oliver Anthony or Anthony Oliver or something. With that absolutely horrendous song. And the song is so bad. And if you look at the words, it's just pushing despair, being drunk, complaining. It's just awful. The message is just horrifying. And of course, all the patriots jumped on like immediately, like, yeah, we finally got someone speaking the truth. Um, First of all, people like have no idea how the music industry works. Okay, nobody releases a song and is popular in 4 days worldwide, all media promoting them. It's just like, it's a test to see how dumb and gullible people are. And just like with COVID, it was a massive fail. And I mean, this guy was a plant. I guarantee you, he didn't write the song. He's just an actor. Um, Tavistock probably wrote the song, and it's just a social engineering program to see. And you've got grown men with like a flag wrapped around them, bawling their eyes out, listening to this absolutely horrendous song. And I don't know. I just sit back and I was just like, it's almost like everything's a LARP. Like these people that believe in this stuff are even LARPing. Like I think we're to the point now where nothing is true. Like nothing. Because like I can't believe anybody would listen to that song and then go, "Oh, this guy just came out of nowhere and he's super popular." And then they said something like he turned down like an $8 million record deal like on the fourth day that he was popular. And I'm like, but his song complains about not having any money, but he turns down like a I mean, it's just absolutely absurd. And the people just eat it up. And then if you call them out on it and go, look, this is a complete psyop, again, they attack you because how dare you? Because they want it to be true so bad. I don't know why. The guy's like creepy. He's like he looks like he's retarded. Song's horrible. Even if the words were like positive and good, the song is literally. I think they're using AI to do a lot of shit now. I think they just told like Chat GPT to write like a patriotic country song, and that it spit that out in like 3 seconds, and then they found like this mongoloid ginger and put him up there and said, "Here, sing this." I mean, it's so obviously fake, and it's so obviously a social engineering project. But yeah, I've really found myself lately having to fight against literally giving up on humanity as a whole, because I know there's good people out there. I just think that like I don't really engage in social media. I've had a YouTube account for several years, but that's pretty much it. Every time I dabble, I'm like, well, let's see what this is like. I've never even had a TikTok account. Um, Never had like Snapchat or any of that stuff. But I was like, well, I know that like so and so who I really like their live streams or whatever they post on Twitter. So I was like, well, let me give it a shot. But I think that the people who get it and they either don't have an account at all or they don't comment. They just like scroll through it, or maybe they have more willpower than me. They just look at what they came to see and then they leave. Whereas I get hooked in with like it's like I'll see something that's just ludicrous and like, oh my god, how could this person believe that? And then next thing I know, I'm like knee deep in it, and I'm like, oh no, get out, get out, get out. And then when I go back to the real world, everything's awesome. But um, I mean, there's like my biggest problem right now is like one of my dogs like broke his leg. I think he got kicked by an elk. I'm not sure. I'm trying to heal his leg, and We just had like 7 puppies, so I'm like taking care of the puppies, and then at some point I'm gonna have to. I've already sold one, but they're only. I think they'll be 6 weeks old this week, so I still have more puppies to sell, and so I'm taking care. And I've got this water tank that I'm gonna make a video on it once it's complete. All I got to do now is finish painting it, and it's done. And then I've taken a series of snapshots during the process, and I'll make like a little short montage video. So I'm working on a water tank. I've got puppies. I've got a dog with a broken leg. Um, like so, those are like that's my world, and I've had to do some repairs on my vehicle. Um, just like basic stuff, and then I see what these other people are dealing with, and it's just like it could be so much. Your life could be so much better if you would just. And the worst of all of it is these, and it's I know it's coming because I guess election season is next year. I guess I don't know. Like I said, I'm not registered. I don't vote. I view voting as just consent. Like I said this before, but I'm convinced that the second you vote, it either doesn't tally it at all, or they just throw it away. Like as soon as you turn around, they just chuck it, or they delete it, or toss it in the trash can. Um, all it is a consent-based system where if your vote, all your vote does is tell the people running the show that you're all in. But you see these people that are just like Trump this and Biden that. And I even saw somebody, they brought up Pelosi again. Isn't she dead? Like, how people still ragging on Pelosi? I mean, are you kidding me? And these people will, like, I mean, they're all in. They are so vested in Trump versus Biden versus so and so. And all these people talking about Trump, 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 and they're so excited. And I'm like, Operation Warp Speed killed a bunch of kids. They're still dying. Like they just give them a pass. Like, he didn't have a choice. He had to push the vaccine. They had his feet to the fire. You gotta be kidding me. And then today there's like all these posts. I guess today's the anniversary of when they blew up those buildings, and they're all praising Trump about how he knew right away that it was. Oh yeah, and they're playing like these recordings that Trump called in some news show and was saying that it looked like a demolition, and they're like, Trump knew. He called him out, and I'm like, yeah, and then he pushed a vaccine that's still killing people today. But they're good with that. That's okay. But so I've always had my own theory about the vaccine. I don't know. I think you can talk about this shit on YouTube now, right? I don't know. They might delete this. I don't know. But uh, my theory from day one was that the it's the whole thing is a program. It's a culling of the stupid. They're basically put all this information out there saying how this is basically an experimental death serum. And I think they started with the masks to see all these people that were like driving with a mask on by themselves. And they're like, okay, phase 2, let's push out this serum. And I honestly believe that it's to get rid of stupid people, because I think that they've realized like there's just way too many stupid people. And again, it's consent based. The way they view things is if you're dumb enough to do it, then it's on you. And so all these people that were like bragging, and that's why I see now they're starting to, I guess there's like a big push now, like they're going to do it again. And they're all these people online say, I'm not wearing a mask this time. I'm not going to. And I'm like, well, first of all, where were you the last time? But secondly, they're not going to do the exact same thing. they wouldn't like put it out there that they're going to do that and let this momentum build up to all these people saying, nope, not going to do it. Um, if they were going to do it exactly the same way, there's going to be, uh, I think, a multi-pronged. It's going to start off probably with like some COVID stuff, the new variant or whatever, and then they're going to throw in, and there's going to be resistance. People are going to try and be like, not this time, and they're going to hit. I mean, they're not stupid. I mean, they proved that last time that they, because of the social engineering and the data collection, they knew exactly what path to take to get all these nimrods to consent, and they're setting it up now to where they're trying to set it up so there will be resistance, and that only tells me that it's a multi-pronged attack. And so I do a lot of like Bible study and focus a lot on biblical scripture, and I think, everybody always, since for years, people have always said, this is the mark of the beast. This is the mark of the beast. This is the Antichrist. Oh, he's the Antichrist. And if you really look at it, none of the boxes check off. Like, these people are just like, oh, Obama's the Antichrist. There's like a whole bunch of reasons why that's not possible. And then, oh, this is the mark of the beast. And it's like, well, the Bible literally says that the second beast is the one who implements the mark to show allegiance to the first beast. So if we don't know who the first or the second beast are at this point, how can that be the mark of the beast? I mean, the people don't know what they're talking about. But I have a sneaky feeling, I don't think it's going to be the prime motive behind the mark, but I think it's either going to be the start of it, the foundation, or it's going to play a role is the climate change. I think somehow climate change narrative is going to be tied into the mark when the mark finally does appear. And it could be 50 years from now. I don't know. Jesus said, no man knows the time. And all these people are like, it's going to be, November of 2024. And it's going to, and they, like I said, there's all these check boxes that happen before the mark is implemented. But I think the foundation, I don't think it's going to be pandemic. I don't think it's going to be, it'll be like social credit score will be part of it. But I think the foundation it's going to start with climate change. And I think COVID was just a test to kind of to judge people. I think climate change was always their main focus, and that was just a precursor to kind of get data so they could fine tune it, because the climate change agenda is going to be the one where the full on tyranny, the hardcore lockdowns, the restrictions, is all going to be based on the climate change. That's my guess. That's what I'm feeling. That I think the whole virus thing, they might kind of keep it around every now and again just to throw it. I think they're kind of done with it. I just don't think they're going to do like COVID 2.0. I think it may start that way, and then they're going to take a left turn and they're going to hit people with something that they didn't see coming. And I just think climate change is the Green New Deal or whatever. I think because like there's like three things that like every country in the world agrees on, even if they all hate each other. They all agree on space travel. They all agree on the Antarctic Treaty. They all were lockstep with COVID. And I think above all that, I think they've already got the foundation laid. All the countries are bought in. They're going to hit the world with something massive, and it's going to be either related to or blamed on climate change. And then if they throw in, say, war with Russia, war with China, a big war, like that's what I was saying earlier. I don't think it's going to be a one-prong attack. I think they're going to hit everybody from like three angles at once. so that people just like don't know, like, do I focus on this? Do I focus on that? It's going to be coming at them from all sides. What do we got here? Um, wow, I missed so much chat here. Sorry about that. I was just babbling. Um, yeah, the animation for the India thing was done like that on purpose because, like I said, it's all social engineering and data collection. So if they put out like a South Park cartoon of a moon landing and people are like, just super excited and like, oh yeah, that tells them so much. They get so much information and data from that. Seeing people squirt over basically like I mean, it was so bad. And it's so obvious because even when they were showing quote unquote the live footage of like the camera looking down, I guess, and they had the telemetry data on there. And I'm really into telemetry data now because of the drone. Um, it doesn't show up on the video that I post, but on the remote control, it has a big screen on it, and all the telemetry data is on there while you're flying. And so I was looking at the telemetry data on India, and it's talking. It was like an insane speed. It was like coming in at like 4,000 miles an hour, and it was showing the altitude and like how fast it was coming down to the surface. But if you watch it, like the craters on the moon all stay the same size. It just kind of gets. It was weird. I mean, it didn't. It's like they, even if you faked it, it seems like accidentally the craters would get bigger and closer but it didn't. Like it said it was getting lower and closer, but like the moon surface was staying the same. That's on purpose. So yeah, I think they're literally trying to see how stupid people are at this point. Full on. Just going full on. Carrie Cassidy. I don't know who that is. Um, oh yeah, Maui was a huge distraction. It's all about um, distractions, division, and diversion. They get you with. I mean, what was it? The beginning of the summer, late spring. We had the China balloons that were like there were like three of them over America, and it's all anybody talked about. And then they just all stopped, and there were like uh, train accidents, like derailments, like every couple days. And then they turn that off, and then they go to something else, and they turn that off. The the Maui thing, I don't know. I think the whole purpose of the Maui thing, well, besides it being a land grab, but they're trying to get people all freaked out about. They keep saying that, oh, there's like 2,000 missing kids. Well, first of all, we don't know that because people are getting this information from the mainstream media. So everybody's like, "Did you hear? There's 2,000 kids missing in Maui," and it's like, well, "Where'd you hear that?" And we're like, "MSNBC." I'm like, "Okay," um, and they're saying, "Well, nobody's reporting on it," and like nobody's saying like, "Where are the kids?" And I'm like, "Well, maybe the parents are dead." I mean, if the parents are dead and the kids are dead, who's going to be saying? I mean, it's all just weird. But I don't know who Carrie Cassidy is. If she has intel on China's directed energy weapons and Maui, I'm going to go with it's fake. Um, Basically, if you see it on anything other than your own eyes, it's probably fake. So I'm trying to keep up here, catch up on the chat. Yeah, there's a lot of people talking shit online about not this time COVID. I guarantee you within a week they'll be double masked, locked down, crying. These people, a lot of people talk a lot of shit, but every one of these people saying, well, I had three vaccines and one booster, but no more. Not this time. I'm like, okay. Smallpox. I don't even think smallpox is a thing. People still watch football? Yeah. Yeah, the people who say the moon landing was real, because if it wasn't, Russia would have called them out on it. You gotta be kidding me, right? You know, Russia uses the whole fake space thing as a big money grab as well. They all do. Sound of Fury. What's that? I don't even know what that is. 2,000 kids missing is building on the Sound of Fury. There, I don't know what Sound of Fury is, but let's see what we got here. How long have we been going here? 40 minutes. What the? I don't know. Anyway, I just came on here to test StreamYard and see if I was doing it right and if it would run on YouTube simultaneously. And then I just started. Jim Caviezel movie. Yeah, that movie was a psyop. I noticed that movie was a psyop immediately, and it's made by the same company that does that Chosen series, which is terrible. I mean, they just use the Bible loosely as like a rough script, and then just like start making stuff up. Yeah, AI. I think AI is a lot more embedded in society than people think it is. They're just now saying, "Oh yeah, we got all these." Chat GPT can do this and that. I think they've actually been running AI live for quite a while, to in real time to work out the bugs, um, but not telling people. And then once they got it to a certain level, then they're like, "Hey, look what we got! We got this new um, Chat GPT or whatever." I personally would never. I know people go on there and ask certain questions, or they say, "Hey, write a song like the Beatles," or no. I My inner voice, the Holy Spirit, told me from day one this technology is demonic. It's from the fallen ones, and I'm not messing with it. I don't care how intriguing it is. Oh, you could go on there and it'll write a something something for you. Nope, you can have it. Um, but I think people have been complaining for several years about how bad like TV and movies are. Like the last several Star Wars and all these things, they're saying they Hollywood can't make a good movie anymore, and all the TV shows suck, and they're all. I think they've had AI writing this stuff for a while, and they've been tweaking it, and so I think you're going to start seeing movies and TV series or whatever start getting way better, and I think it's because they've. I don't think people have been writing these things for a while, but I think they. I don't watch TV, but I watch people complain about how bad TV is, and I think it's because AI has been writing it, and it's been learning or whatever, and I just get a feeling that they're gonna start having like they used to have like The Sopranos or The Wire, like these certain shows that would be really big, like everybody would freak out, and then it just dropped off because everybody's like, "Oh, these shows all suck." I think you're gonna see some of those start coming back because I think they've got AI to the point where it can actually write good stuff. And I've noticed for years that news articles online, I thought that they were AI written because the grammar was so bad and the names all seemed made up. Like when they had when they would name a person involved in the story, the name would be ridiculous, and the grammar and the sentence structure, and it would repeat words, and I'm like, nobody edits. I was like, nobody editing these stories before they go like to print. And I think that was AI's learning, and I don't think that people were actually um, writing any of that stuff. And you could tell because a lot of stories were almost similar, almost word for word, but they'd tweak it just a little bit. And I think that was AI pumping out like 20 versions of the same story, and it would just change things a little bit. And so I think that like the Hollywood writers strike is just an excuse to replace them with AI, because I think they've got AI ready. Let's see. Okay. Well, I don't know. I've rambled enough. Like I said, um, I just really feel bad for her. And I know it's probably when you're on there looking at these comments and these posts, you get this like illusion that it's like, oh, that's how everybody is. But I know that it's just probably a very small percentage. At least I hope that's the case, and that most people probably aren't that stupid. But the people that are in the matrix are like really in, and no amount of common sense seems to have it. Just bounces off them. These people are, I think they're in a despair spiral, and they don't even want to get out. They're having a good time being like just complaining and being miserable. And I think that's just a reflection of their actual life, because I think a lot of people in cities right now are scared, miserable, and I mean, if half the stuff you hear is true with like shit in the streets and people just steal whatever they want and walk up to people and punch them in the face, and yeah, these people are probably scared to go to the supermarket. But and I think that the only output they have as far as venting that all their fears and frustrations is comments and posts on the internet. Um, but anyway, it's not something I deal with, but I know it's out there, and I do feel bad for people that are stuck in a place that they feel like they can't get out of, and it's complete chaos around them. And the sad part is, I think a few years from now, people are going to be looking back on this time as good times, because I think it's going to get really, really bad. There's a couple things they could do to basically flip the table overnight, and one is the power, and the other is the money. And I'm not sure what they're waiting for, if that's going to be part of like this multi-prong attack when they really want to control everybody. Because they could kill the power like tomorrow, and literally probably millions of people would die in weeks. In the cities, they would just all kill each other, and they could do the same thing with the banks by just shutting it down, saying, "Oh yeah, we were hacked. All the banking systems down. Nobody can get any money." There would be millions of people dead within weeks. They're holding off on that for whatever reason. I don't even want to know, because again, I'm thinking multi-prong attack. It's not going to be one thing. I think they're going to hit people with two, three, four things at once. And like I've always said, the apocalypse will be televised. It's going to be, if you want to see people at their worst, you just turn on the news, because it's going to get ugly. But thankfully, God got me out of Babylon, and put me way out here in the middle of nowhere. So um, I don't know. I feel bad for people, but I think a lot of it is their own doing. Even if you live in a city and you're miserable, when they started that whole COVID thing, people could have just said no. They could have put up a middle finger and said, "Get," and they didn't. They cucked, and they complied. And I think that was the moment they realized it's game on. These people, we can get them to do anything. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Oh, the New Mexico 30-day ban on firearms. Yeah, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department already says they're not going to enforce it. So it's good to see, some people standing up against it. But um, that governor of New Mexico is insane. She's like the one in Oregon and the one in California. I mean, these people are clearly actors who are playing the role of the villain because nobody can stand them. They do stupid things, and it's all just to get people upset and spiral. So, I mean, out here where I live, people just carry guns, and some lady in Santa Fe that says you can't, nobody gives a shit. So it's all about sowing division and getting one side mad at the other. That's all any of it is, because they know that if everybody banded together, it'd be over. We'd be way too strong for them to deal with. So they have to keep everybody arguing and bickering over nonsense. And there was a point where I thought people would get discernment and they'd be like, they'd wake up to the fact that everything's fake. But people are still like literally um, taking whatever is reported on the news and just it's gospel and they run with it. And because, like I said, I think if it goes along with your belief system and or goes against what you are against, they get super excited and they go all in instead of just going it's all fake and turning it off. Turning it off would be the solution, but I just don't see it happening. Like I said, too many people are addicted to fear, dopamine, and I think their own lives are so chaotic that they need an outlet. And screaming at the keyboard or the screen is their only outlet besides probably alcohol, drugs, and porn. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like I asked on one of the videos the other day, I said if anybody had any ideas, let me know, and people were saying, "Yeah, start talking about current events and blah blah." And I was like, "No, I meant with the drone." I guess I should have been more specific. I was asking people for ideas on like ideas of what I could film or um but anyway, yeah, because I'm more focused on getting really good with that drone because it's a lot of fun and it just gives you a different perspective on things and like like if I want to see if there's water in the pond now, I don't have to walk down there or drive down there. I can just send the drone up and look down and go, Duh, yeah, there's water and there's no water. So it's got a lot of things that I like about it. And but yeah, if anybody has any like questions about drones, I'm not an expert. I've only had it for like 3 or 4 days, but I've been doing a lot of flying with it and a lot of studying. And then I download the footage to my computer and I watch it and I see like all the things that I don't like and what I could do better. Then I delete all those files and I send it up again. We've had some stormy weather, a lot of wind and lightning and rain, which I won't fly it then. But when there's a gap in the weather, if I'm not involved in something else, I send that drone up and like I said, the controls are very similar to like if you played, Xbox games or like Battlefield or stuff where you could fly helicopters. You can set the controls basically to just like that. But I haven't played video games in like 10 years, so I'm starting all over again. But and then the other thing is, for me at least, like it's quite an investment. Like it's not cheap because I got like two extra batteries and a case and um, memory cards and a landing pad and all these sun visor hood thing for the controller to keep the sun off the screen and um, a, a protective shield for the screen like you put on your phone. All these accessories, and so it's an investment. And so there's a part of me that's really leery of going crazy with it because I've heard some horror stories and I've seen some videos on YouTube where people crash these things, and I don't want to crash it because they're very expensive to me, and Yeah, I got the DJI RC controller, which is has its own built-in screen, and that's again that's I'm glad I put it off because I'm not sure how long that controller's been out, and there's actually an RC Pro. There's like an upgrade to that screen, which basically has, I think, a little better resolution on the light, so you can, I guess you can see it a little bit better if it's bright out, and it has a few more built-in control buttons that you can do stuff on it. But it goes from, like, I think the RC controller with the built-in screen, I think if you just bought that, like if you already have like a Mavic 2 or something and it's compatible with it, and you just want to upgrade to that controller, it's like 300 and I think it's like $309 for that controller. So um and then the other one, which is like the RC Pro, jumps up to like $800, something crazy. And it does give you a few more like buttons, but you'd have to be like a professional, like getting paid for your drone footage or something, because it's pretty expensive. But I've added some accessories. I mean, like the extended life battery is like $90 just for one. But I think for the drone and the controller, what did I get when I first? Because I've been getting it like in pieces coming in because I've been ordering accessories. But I think when I got initially, when I just got like the drone, the controller, and like a 256 gigabyte SD card, I think it was like 11 or $1,200. I know it was at least 1,100. It took me a long time to pull the trigger on that, but I'm glad I waited because, like I said, they've upgraded the hardware and the firmware, and then the controller now. It came with this upgraded controller, and DJI is really good about firmware updates. If there's something that's not working quite right, you turn it on and it says update available, and it even does firmware updates on the batteries. So if you have your battery in there and it updates it, and you take that out and put a different battery in, it updates that battery. So they're really good with the updates. And like if people say, hey, I have a problem where it actually you can record your flight log. So it's same thing your drone's seeing when you're recording on the drone, but it's recording on the controller, the same view, but it has all the telemetry data, and then it has a flight log, which I guess is probably like text files or some sort of files. So if you have a problem, you experience something, or you have a crash, you can send the video file and the flight log to DJI, and they'll actually go through it. And if they find a problem, they'll have a firmware update out. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's like I said, it's been over a year that I've been like on the fence about, I want to get a drone. Oh, there's other things I could, use money for. And then um, I'm glad I waited, because right now they've got some really good stuff going on right now with their. I think they've got the consumer grade, beginner, amateur, weekend drone stuff. Like, really, it's very impressive. I was really impressed with the stuff that this thing will do. I just thought it would be able to fly it and shoot video, maybe take a couple photos with it. It does all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. A lot of built-in. I mean, it'll do panoramic photos. It'll do 360-degree um, stitching photos together. It'll do. It'll follow you wherever you tell it to follow this, and it'll parallel you. It'll follow behind you. It'll just do circles around you. Um, just all kinds of really interesting stuff. And the it goes up to what, 4K 60 frames per second, all the way down to, I know it does 1080p. I don't know. There's a huge list. I just left it on like 4K 30 frames per second because it's easier to edit, and for what I'm doing right now, it's plenty. The quality's great, and Oh yeah, I bought lenses so I have interchangeable lenses. I think I've got 9 lenses I can swap out for different, depending on the sky, if you want it bluer and all that kind of stuff. I don't really mess with that right now, but um, I definitely would recommend DJI if you're gonna go for it. At least get something. I mean, there's drones that are like thousands of dollars, and they do crazy stuff like geo mapping and everything like that. But if you just want to have fun, get some really neat video, um, the DJI Mini or the Mavic, the Air, any of those, they're not too costly. You can get a good setup for like around $1,000, and you get good with them. You can make money. You just have to get your 107 license from the FAA, which is, most people say if you study for a couple of weeks, you can pass the test, and then you can charge money for your commercial use of a drone. But there's like a ceiling, so I had to set my maximum altitude to 400 feet, and depending on where you're at, and the controller downloads maps, and it'll show you where the restricted areas are, where there's a no-fly zones. It's pretty involved, and definitely. I know there's going to be instances that come up in the future where somebody says like, I have this problem or I want to get this done, and I'll be like, hey, I have a drone, I could do that. So it's going to be pretty neat. Um, if I lived in a city, I don't think it would be the same. I wouldn't really give a crap if I had a drone in a city. Too many wires, cables, buildings, interference from radio and Wi-Fi signals. But if you live in the country and you have a lot of open area, they're a blast. Yeah, you have to get the unmanned pilot license through the FAA, which I think it's the 107. So you have to know a lot of stuff that you'll never ever ever use. But I mean, yeah, I guess you could use it if you lived like around a city and airports and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of restrictions, which I live out in the middle of nowhere, so I'll never have to deal with that stuff. But you have to know it for the test, and I think the test is like $175 if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, that's good. Like I said, I just came on here to test StreamYard, but I appreciate everybody that showed up. And um, sorry I didn't really uh, go through comments too much and answer any questions. But um, everybody take care. God bless, and hopefully, yeah, hunting. That's another thing that I could market it to out here for the hunters is to um, for scouting an area that they want to hunt later in the year, that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of people take their quads and they just drive, but you still can only see what you can see at ground level. Whereas if you get up 400 feet and look down and do a big 360, and then you put it on a thumb drive or something for them, and then they can sit there at home and they can go over all this footage and like plan out their hunt for later in the year and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff with, real estate, getting aerial photographies of properties that are for sale and all kinds of stuff. I know we have a lot of cattle ranches out here that have tens or hundreds of thousands of acres, and they got to go out every now and again, check all their fences, look for their cows. And, if they don't have GPS trackers on all their cows, they might need to know where the cows are at. If you can say, hey, they're over that way about 2 miles, then they don't have to look for them. They just go, they know right where the cows are and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff we could do with the drones out here. But anyway, yeah, Robert, um, yeah, you can pick my brain. Um, All right, man. Everybody take care. God bless, and I will see you later.